Okay, so we've determined that Balmond, my little character here, is going to have 15 strength. That gives him a +2 on his ability modifier. This is his ability score. And then 14 and 15 are a +2, so he gets a +2 there. Now, I wouldn't worry about that so much just yet, but where that comes into play is his armor class, or AC, is how hard he is to hit, for example. And I'm not giving him any armor because he's a level 1. He doesn't have a shield yet, so I'm going to leave that blank. Dex modifier, this little section here, asks for what this modifier is for Dex, and it's a +2. So we put a 2 in there. He doesn't get anything for his size. He's a medium creature, being a human being. And he doesn't get anything for armor because I'm not giving him any. And then you take all those and add 10, so his AC is 12. It's just one example of things. So that's how hard he is to get. I'll get into that in a little game mechanics video. So that also will plug into things like saving throws, and we'll get to that in a second. You need to select a class, and it'll give you base saves for those. These are things that can actually save your character. A fortitude save is, let's say they drink a poison, and that tells them, or that determines whether or not it's going to kill them or damage them. And same thing with like running through a fire or catching on fire, things like that. Will save is somebody attacks them with magic, let's say a mind-affecting spell. How well can they resist that? And then base attack bonus, CMB, CMD, we'll worry about here in a second. So, and your skills, we'll get to that. So Balmond, I know, is a level 1 character. I've determined all that stuff for him, got his base scores and ability modifiers, and I decided he was going to be a human. So, in the core rulebook, absolutely essential if you're going to play Pathfinder, you're going to need that. You can get it from Paizo, a lot cheaper on their website, Paizo.com. It's got this little logo. And you can get the PDF cheaper than the actual physical book. So, when you determine your race, you'll need to go to the actual race section. So you get to determine all these different races, and of course they show them just kind of like what they're basically like. Dwarves, very strong, elves, gnomes, etc., halflings, humans. So it will tell you what their racial traits are. Everything else is just kind of a description if you're interested. But human traits, +2 to 1 ability score, because you get to be kind of varied. You know, human beings can do all sorts of different things. So, on that, I can go to one of these ability scores that I already assigned, and I can decide to add 2 to it. Now, I'm making him kind of like a Viking character, so I'm going to take that 15, I'm going to turn it into an 18. So instead of a +2, thanks to his little racial ability, now that'll be a +4. Now, if that seems complicated, don't worry too much about it. You'll get the hang of it if you play the game, but a lot of the times it'll tell you in the book how that affects what it is you are doing. So it'll also tell you their size. It's a medium creature. Don't worry about that. Most of the creatures in here are medium unless you're like a halfling or a gnome. Normal speed, 30 feet. That's how far they can move in and around. I don't normally make people use little maps, but there's a little section for speed. If your GM is going to be particular about that, you can write it down. So, skilled, they gain an additional skill rank at first level, so basically one more point to put in skills. I'll get to that in a second. Languages, it'll tell you what all you can get. So, a lot of that, you know, that's the end of it, will tell you what sort of things they get. Alignment, what they tend to be. Humans are pretty much anything. Society, same. You have, you know, all kinds of different societies and countries among humans. So, you decided on your class, and then the next thing you need to go to is, or you decided your race, I'm sorry, and then you want to go to classes. I decided, since he's going to be kind of a Viking-ish character, I'm going to make him a fighter. So right under the name here, you can punch in fighter. Nice and simple. Okay, so in the classes section, you can go and find, they're all in alphabetical order, which is great. This one's for the barbarian. It'll give you a little table that shows you all your base saves and things. That's very important to help build your character. Very easy first level, so don't sweat it too much. Yeah, if it seems a little confusing, just ask your GM, your game master, whoever is running the campaign, for help, and they should be able to help you. Okay, fighter. So this will show you different things like their role. Fighters are pretty obvious. They're like soldiers. So hit die is a really important thing. That's your HP, how much you get per level. So he's a level 1. It says a D10. Now, I mentioned earlier that there are all kinds of different dice in Pathfinder and D&D. And for those of you that are new at it, there are dice like this one. And this is a D10. D is for whatever die it is. Dice is plural. And then the number is for how many sides it has. This one has 10, starting at 1, and then the 0 counts as a 10. So there's 1. So what I'm actually going to do is I'll give that a roll there. Yeah, that was terrible. Let's redo that. Some GMs are nice. Oh, jeez. Some GMs are actually really nice, and they'll let you roll for whatever. Oh, okay, whatever. Let's just say it was a 6. This is a tutorial, and I'm a GM, so I can do what I want for this. Let's say I roll a 6, and I go up here and look at Constitution. That's how hard you can take a hit. Whatever you roll for your hit die, you add your ability modifier. These are very important to everything your character does, like I said. So the ability modifier for 2, Constitution, or how hard he is a +2. So I rolled a 6. So go up to the HP here, and we'll put 8 HP. He's kind of squishy right now, but that's acceptable. So, skills, it'll tell you what the class skills are. That is also very important. You don't have to roll for that. Now, your skills are in this huge section right here. And class skills are very important to pay attention to. It'll give you a list. Let's see. Skills are climb, craft, handle animal. So you go down this little list and you find where those things are. So climb, craft, handle animal. And let's just do this real quick. Intimidate, knowledge, dungeoneering. So intimidate, knowledge, dungeoneering is the second knowledge bracket here. You don't have to put check marks. You can just put a little line through it or color the little dot in. Knowledge engineering, so sometimes it can look a lot neater just to go in and fill in a little bubble. So very important to keep track of though. Knowledge engineering, profession, ride. Okay, we won't worry too much about these, but profession, Maze perception isn't one of them. Ride, survival, and swim. Okay. So, now the important thing here in skills is on your character list. It will tell you how many skill ranks they get. So skill ranks per level, 2 plus intelligence modifier. There's that modifier again. Let's see, my modifier here is +1, so 3 skill points. That's lovely. So, with that, I think in the book it also gives you a little bit better skills. Oh, the extra rank for being a human, so 4 for the first level. Yeah. Okay. So there may be some reading in there. It's been a while since I've built a character. So let's just put down here I have 4 skill points. This is just an example anyway, so it doesn't need to be perfectly accurate. So with that, I'll go in here and let's put 1 rank. You'll notice there are little sections here like rank, ability modifier, and total bonus. Total bonus is adding everything up together. That's why it's the equal sign is here. I don't know why it's not on the right. It's on the left. But let's put 1 in climb, 2 in intimidate, and 1 in dungeoneering. Oh, whoops. I did a bad thing. See, even people who've done this before can mess up. I put it under ability modifier, so let's move those over 1 into the ranks section. Ranks are in the middle. Okay, so, and my last little point here, let's put in swim. He's more like a Viking, so that would just make sense. Okay, up at the top here, it'll have ability modifier. Go back to your ability score, and whatever the modifier is there, you gotta plop that in there. So for climb, that's strength, that's the best one he has, so he gets 4 points into that, making a total of 5. See, and there's his skill. So, go down here to handle animal, doesn't really get anything in that because his charisma is zilch. So, nothing, but he does get a +3 over here, I'll explain that in a second. So, intimidate, that's 3, charisma, 0. Knowledge, intelligence, he only gets a 1 on that. 3 over here. Under the miscellaneous modifier, if it's a class skill, if it lists it under the class skills here, you get an automatic +3 in anything that is under miscellaneous. So I screwed that up too then. It should be an 8, not a 5. My apologies. So this one, I didn't put any skills in it, so I'll just call it a 3. And this one, 5. This one, 5. So a lot of 5 skills here. This one's based on strength, so it's 4 and 3, so that is definitely 8. Okay, so I have his skills figured out. Not an overly skilled character, but he's a fighter. He's more like bash things in, not really like worry about things. And if you look at the skills, they actually kind of make sense. Things like survival are something you're taught. So it's determined, your ability modifier is wisdom for survival. It's kind of like you've been taught that. And like I mentioned before, wisdom is more along the lines of things you learn and retain over a long period of time. So, anyway, we'll call that good on skills. If you have any other questions, just let me know on that section. But let's move on for the sake of time. So, here's the little fighter table up in the upper left here. And you can kind of see it gives different things here. He's just a first level, so all you got to do is look across that little section there. And he gets a bonus feat, and usually you get 2 feats to pick as a human, and we'll get to that in 1 second. So, at first level, he gets a +2 bonus to his fortitude save. So you find your little save section here, and under the base he gets a 2, and the others he gets nothing. Yeah, fantastic. So 2, nothing, nothing. Alright, so it ends up looking like that. I just added those numbers right there. So then you add all these up over to the left here. Let me do that real lickety-splickly. So his saves are 4, 2, and 1. I'll go over those in 1 second here. Base attack bonus is determined by class. His base attack bonus is a +1. It shows it up in the corner there. So we'll do +1, then that goes down here. Now these 2 things you have to add together as well. His base attack bonus right up there. These here are his CMB and CMD. It's basically melee attack and melee defense. Like if somebody's going to try to wrestle him, or he's going to try to wrestle somebody else, or trip them, or they try to trip him, CMD. Basically just think of it as attack, defense. So this one's defense, this one's attack. Anyway, we add all those things up, add things together based on the little ability modifiers there. So this one is a 1 + 2 + 2, so 5 + 10 is a 15. And the other one's itty bitty, it's just a 3. That's a crappy 3. So those are done. All you do is add all those things together after plugging them in. Easy peasy. Alright, so overall, character is pretty complete. We need to get him some weapons and things. Oh, the feats. Yes. So, feats I won't waste a lot of time on. All I will say is there is a section in here, once you figure out how many feats your character gets. Mine's a human, so he starts out with 2, and as a fighter, at his first level, he gets an extra. So, anyway, there's a whole section in here on feats that you can choose from for your character, and it's basically how you want your character to be proficient at things. So a feat could mean like they're a better fist fighter, or they're a better archer, or things like that, and things that can enhance your classes and make them better for other things. So on the back of the character sheet, there's a little section for feats. Now I already predetermined what he needed. I picked improved initiative, quick draw, which allows you to produce a weapon without taking up a whole round, because this works kind of like a video game. If you don't have quick draw as a feat, and you do have to take up a feat slot for it, it takes you a whole round to take out your weapon. A round in combat is like 2 or 3 seconds. It's not long, but it takes up that round and means you can't attack or anything while you're pulling your weapon out. Improved initiative. Initiative on the first side of the paper is added together like anything else. You get a total from your dex modifier and a miscellaneous modifier. The feat for improved init gives the +4. It's called init in the game, and so you'll kind of run into that. But his dex gives him a +2, so it ends up being 6, and I'll show you how that works in a minute. So his last feat, improved initiative and quick draw, I'll just say throw anything. So he's been in bar fights or something is my excuse. Throw anything. All that does for your character is they can pick anything up as a mundane item and throw it like a weapon. So AC items up here also is your armor. If you have any, you buy any, you pick any up, you add it back here, add all these things together, and then that determines how much more protected you are. He doesn't have any right now, so haha, sucks to be him. So gear is anything you want to give him or her or whoever your character is. Clothes, tools, anything they're going to be using. Special abilities come with the class or race, and you'll have to keep track of those. Humans don't really have any. A little section for experience points, a little section for money. This is kind of important. They have different little denominations here for copper coins, copper pieces or CP, silver pieces or SP, gold pieces or GP, and platinum pieces or PP. And I bet a lot of people giggled, but whatever. It's just the acronym for those pieces. So, last things last. That's pretty much a complete character. You can plug in the same sort of things as anybody else. You just go to your race, your class, and all that information is in the core rulebook. So it's just fun to read through. They give you a lot of information on how to do it, and it's just kind of a real simple way to throw it all together. And the video is already turning out to be about 20 minutes, but it's still about 10 minutes shorter than a lot of the other videos I've found. Last things last. I'm just going to give him a Viking sword. Stand by. And it's basically a long sword, I would say, so we'll call it a D8. Most longswords and things do a D8 worth of damage. And D8 is another one of those die that if you haven't played anything like Dungeons & Dragons before, you probably have not seen it. It's a little pyramid-shaped kind of die. There are 8 sides to it. So, your attack bonus for melee weapons, I'm just doing melee for this one, it could be an axe, a sword, a club, anything, would be your base attack bonus, which for him is a +1, plus whatever your strength is. So +4 means it's a +5. Ammunition, doesn't matter. Range, I'll just put an M for melee, because I don't really concern myself with that. Critical is 20 times 2. And all that means is when you roll a 20 on a 20-sided die, this is the one you will use the most often throughout this game. Then if you hit 20, you do twice the amount of damage you roll. So I attack something, and let's say I roll 20. I roll my damage, I get a 5 times 2, so that's 10. Pathfinder's a little more tricky. Normally, it'll make you confirm your critical, but I don't do that. You get to 20, you automatically get twice your damage. So, that's roughly how you make a character. Just a real quick and dirty version. If there's any other questions or anybody wants me to do anything more specific, I would be more than happy to do that. If anybody thinks I should redo this video and try to summarize and do it quicker, then I accept that challenge as well. Thank you for watching.